Okay, so now we are going to start the last part of this chapter regarding units, and then we'll move to the dimensions part of it. What we have studied till now was what is a physical quantity, and then there were physical quantities are divided into base quantity of fundamental quantities, derived quantities, and supplementary quantities. And with all these physical quantities, we attach units with it. Like for the length, the unit was meter. For mass, the unit was kilogram. For force, the unit is Newton, and so on. We are not gone into the depth of each and every physical quantity in the unit, because that we'll explore as an further we read the chapter in the physics. Okay, so then when we identified the physical quantity, we understood that the physical quantities are those quantities which we measure. So we dig into measurement of the physical quantities, and we started measuring length. And when discussed about measuring, I discussed that there are two types to measure things. One is a direct method and one is a indirect method. Indirect method, basically we measure directly what we are supposed to measure. For example, if we want to measure the length of an object, we use the scale to measure the length of the object. If we want to measure the mass of an object, we use the weighing pen to measure the mass of the object. Okay, so in this we measure that quantity which we are supposed to measure. Indirect methods are those methods in which we don't directly measure, but we measure something else and then calculate it. For example, if you want to find the distance of the sun from the earth, now we cannot directly measure the distance of the sun from the earth using a scale. So what we do, we use the indirect method. We use the parallax method to measure the angle, and with that measured angle, we calculate the distance of the sun from the earth, or let's say to measure the diameter of a distant star or something like that. We use indirect methods. Okay, so that was a brief introduction of measurement. Now in this last part of this lecture, I am going to discuss few of the uh, units and measurements and physical quantities to just get the feel of the physics. We are not going into the detail of the subject. Okay, so if you say about length part of the universe, the sizes of the objects we come across in the universe vary from the order of 10 to minus 14 meter, which is basically the size of the nucleus, to the order of 10 to 26 meter, which is the current size of the universe which has been measured. So you can see what is the uh, range of the measurement. Like by the naked eye, what we can see is in millimeters and centimeters and millimeters and kilometers. But beyond that, at the microscopic level, the size of the nucleus is 10 to minus 14 meter, and still maybe as the science progresses, we may measure more smaller objects, and till now the size of the universe is measured up to 10 to 26 meter. So we measure length in meters, centimeter with the help of the meter scale. We measure distance which are very large with the help of the parallax method. But suppose we want to measure very small sizes, then let's say we want to measure the size of an atom which is of the order of 4000 angstrom or 7000 angstrom, then we can use an optical microscope. Optical microscope is a device which is used to measure the length of the object whose size is nearly equal to the wavelength of the light. And the wavelength of the light varies between 4000 angstrom to 7000 angstrom. So of size of these objects can be measured with the help of the optical microscope. 1 angstrom is defined as 10 to minus 10 meter. But suppose we want to measure the size of the objects which are smaller than this, like the size of the electron, which is of the order of 0.6 angstrom, then with the optical microscope, we cannot measure the size of the electron. See, I am again emphasizing it. Optical microscopes works on the principle of the light rays. So we can only measure the size of the object, where the size of the object is comparable to the wavelength of the light, and the wavelength of the light is in the region of 4000 angstrom to 7000 angstrom. So you can only measure the size of the object whose size varies between 4000 angstrom to 7000 angstrom using the optical microscope. But if you want to measure the size of the electron, which is much less than this, which is nearly 0.6 angstrom, then we use the electron microscope. An electron microscope works on the principle of the electric field and magnetic field, which is beyond the scope of this chapter. So just for the information purpose, I have mentioned it here, and we'll move forward. Since the size of the universe varies from 10 to the minus 14 meter to 10 to the 26 meter, we have different units to measure the length. The smallest unit till now, which we use to measure the size of the nucleus, is 1 Fermi. And 1 Fermi is equal to 10 to the minus 15 meter. Another size unit which is basically used to measure the size of the atom is angstrom, and 1 angstrom is 10 to the minus 10 meter. When we want to measure a galaxy, or when we want to measure the universe is very huge. So if you want to measure the distance of planets inside a solar system, then what we can use is 1 astronomical unit. 1 astronomical unit is the average distance of the sun from the earth. Remember, the universe is very large, so we are defining more units to measure the size of the distance between object, and 1 astronomical unit is defined as the average distance of the sun from the earth. If you see our planetary motion, if this is the sun, which is lying at the focus of the ellipse, and if you see this is earth, which is rotating around the sun, we know that earth doesn't move around the sun in the circular orbit, but it moves in an elliptical orbit. So the distance of the earth from the sun is not constant. It keeps on changing with time. The earth is closest to the sun in the summer and farthest away from the sun in the winter, and the distance of the earth from the sun keeps on changing. So when you define 1 astronomical unit, we define it as the average distance of the sun from the earth, and this average distance of the sun from the earth, 1 angstrom unit, is equal to 1.496 into 10 to the 11 meter. But when we want to measure the distance between galaxies, where the distance is much larger than this, then we define 1 light year. 1 light year is 9.46 into 10 to the 15 meter, and this definition of the light year comes from how much distance the light travels in 1 year, and the velocity of light is 3 into 10 to the 8 meter per second. So the distance with this velocity the light travels in 1 year is 9.46 into 10 to the 15 meter, and this distance is covered by the light in 1 year. Another unit for the distance measurement is parsec. Now, as I said that the universe is very large, we define different units to measure the distance. 1 parsec is another big unit. Parsec is a distance as with the average radius of the Earth's orbit subtends an angle of 1 arc second. What does this mean? We have defined as average distance of the Earth from the Sun as 1.496 into 10 to the 11 meter. If I consider this circle, okay, and if I take this arc, even though I'm drawing it magnified, if this arc length is 1.496 into 10 to the power 11 meter, which is equal to the average distance of the sun from the earth. And if this angle theta is equal to 1 arc second, if this angle theta is equal to 1 arc second, then this radius r is defined as 1 parsec. Remember this arc length which I've shown you the magnified length 1.496 into 10 to the power 11 meter. The theta 1 arc second. What is 1 arc second? 1 degree is equal to 60 minutes. So 1 minute is 1 by 60 degree, and 60 arc second is 1 minute. So 1 arc second is 1 by 3600 degrees. So the angle which I have drawn 1 arc second here is such a small angle, which I have drawn here is magnified. It's not that large. This theta is basically 1 arc second, which is equal to 1 by 3600 degrees. Such a small angle. If this angle subtends and the arc length is 1.496 into 10 to the power 11 meter, then this radius comes out to be 1 parsec. Similarly, when we see the masses of the object, the simplest measurement of the mass is with the help of the weighing pen. But again, the mass varies from 10 to the minus 30 kg to about 10 to the 55 kg, where 10 to the minus 31 kg around is the mass of an electron, and 10 to the 55 kg is the mass of the universe. So with the help of the weighing pen, what we can measure is in kilograms and gram, or maybe to a certain extent with the जो weighing pen sonar use करता है Goldsmith, we measure in terms milligram or something like that. But if you want to measure the smaller mass or heavier mass, like if you want to measure the mass of the earth or mass of the mountain, then we cannot measure with the help of the weighing pen. So SI unit of the mass is kilogram. If you want to measure large mass in the universe, like that of the mass of the planets or stars, then we basically use the method like Newton's law of gravitation, where we see that the force of attraction between the two masses is proportional to the mass, and F is equal to G m1 m2 upon r square. And by using such indirect techniques of measuring the force, we can calculate the mass of the planets. For measuring the small masses, like we want to measure the mass of the atom or electron, we use mass spectrograph, in which what we do is these particles like electron or proton, when they are moving in the electric field or magnetic field, they deviate in that field because of the electrostatic force or the magnetic force. And when we measure that deviation, or when we measure the radius of the trajectory of that particle, and we find that the radius of the trajectory is proportional to the mass of the charged particle, and with that we can measure the mass of the electron and proton. Again, these are all the details of all these things. How we measure the mass of electron and proton can we study further in the chapter of electromagnetism in 12th class. Here it's just given for the introduction purpose. And the unit for such a small mass is another unit which is known as unified mass or atomic mass unit, which is again a very small unit of the order of 10 to the minus 27 kg. Last part which I want to discuss in this session is measurement of time. We see the clock and measure the time in seconds and hours and minutes, but time can be very precisely measured, and the standard of the measurement of the time is derived from a cesium 133 clock. basically, if you have the basic idea of the atom, what we study in the atom is the electrons are in the different orbits or at the different energy levels. So in the cesium atom, these different energy levels we defined as hyperfine levels. If an electron makes 91926317770, this is a 10-digit number, okay, vibrations between two hyperfine energy levels, then 1 second. If it makes 91926317770 vibrations between two hyperfine energy levels, then what we count is 1 second. This is how precisely the time is measured with the help of the cesium 133 clock. And this clock is so much accurate that the error in measurement of the time with the help of this clock is plus minus 1 into 10 to the power minus 13. That is, in 10 to the power 13 seconds, there will be an error of 1 second. What does this mean? It means the error of 3 microsecond in 1 year. What does this mean? The error of 3 microsecond in 1 year. So if you want to find out the error of 1 second, it will be 1 divided by 3 into 10 to the power minus 6 years, which will be approximately 3.33 into 10 to the power 5 years. So you can understand 3.33 into 10 to the power 5 years is maybe more than the life of the earth. In that much time period, we'll get the error of 1 second. This is where I'll end my class here today. And with this, we have basically finished the overview of the chapter regarding the units part. And in the next lecture, what I will discuss will be the overview of the dimensions part of this chapter. And then we'll move forward. The class is over for today.